Hi, my name's Anthony Stickler. I've lived in the Edmore area for 55 years and have a lot of information to tell about it. And that's what I'm here today to do.
Welcome to the Discover Montcalm Podcast, where we are going to look at the communities, the businesses, the attractions, and the people that make up Montcalm County. Here is your podcast host, Dwayne Weed.
Hello, and welcome to this edition of the Discover Montcalm Podcast. My name's Dwayne, your host and producer. And as you just heard, Anthony Stickler is joining us today. And we're going to talk about all things Edmore and Montcalm County. Anthony, thank you. Anthony, thank you for stopping in today. It's been a while.
Thanks for having me.
You have been in the Edmore area all your life.
55 years.
Let's jump right into then and now. If you could do a really quick overview of what it was like growing up and what changes you've seen over that time.
Edmore was primarily, the big business was Hitachi.
Okay.
And Hitachi started out way back. It wasn't Hitachi when the business first started. It was Union Carbide, and it came in 1952.
Okay.
Then Union Carbide merged with General Electric, and they stayed until the early 70s. And when I mean early, I mean like 71, 72.
Okay.
And while it was GE, they made a tool that actually went up into space.
Oh, okay.
My grandfather, I should have brought the picture, but my grandfather was in on it. He tempered it, and they wanted to see how it would work in zero gravity.
Oh, pretty cool.
Yeah.
So that's some early business. As a young person, what was life like growing up in a smaller town?
I enjoyed it. I really did. Knew everybody. Nobody really moved much back then. If your kids went to school there, you basically finished school there, and
okay.
Unless something dramatic happened. But I usually the same class I went to school with or started school with back in 74, I finished with in 87.
Okay.
And that is not, from what I understand, is the key now.
And the school district is Montebello. Okay. Okay.
In Montebello, I talked to a retired faculty member there and was talking about him a couple years ago. And they said if somebody moves in, they usually stay about 5 years.
Oh.
And the reason that Montebello in this area is such a good area, it's centrally located between Elma, Mount Pleasant, Ionia, Grand Rapids, Lansing. Mom and Dad don't have to work in the same city, but they can have really good jobs. And then where they move out is because they, one way or another, they find, get promoted or whatever.
Sure.
And move to that other city.
I was doing a little research and I noticed that, Edmore was founded in 1878.
Yes, by Edwin Moore.
By Edwin Moore, which they basically contracted the name between the two, which when I was doing my research, I went, oh, that's kind of cool. I did not know that. So I have a fun fact that will just reside up here, and who knows where it'll go from there.
The original house that he built is still in Edmore.
It is?
Yes.
Okay. Do they have it as...
No, it's not a historical monument or nothing. I don't think even the owner of the house even knows it was the original.
Oh, really?
It's just... everything was built around the railroad, close to the railroad.
Right.
And so Edmore used to go more north and south than east and west.
Okay.
And so that was what happened. And then it spread out from there. But we used to have everything, the hotel, the bar, everything was right by the railroad track.
Well, a lot of times, I grew up in Morley, and the same thing. When I grew up, there was a depot right there, and the train actually went through at that time. But back in that time period, Morley, like a lot of the villages and cities that the train went through, were a lot larger. They had more businesses at that time because the train was the thoroughfare, getting them from point A to point B, and et cetera, et cetera. You were telling me before we started a little history on Edwin.
Edwin? He was a logging camp owner.
Okay.
He was into the lumber industry, and he started the lumbering company there in Edmore, or the lumber business, and it was named. This village was named after him, eventually, but it was founded in 1878.
Okay.
And we'll be celebrating our sesquicentennial a little over 2 years.
Okay, that'd be 2028. Yep.
28. Now, Edwin didn't stay in Edmore very long. Edwin went to Arkansas.
Oh, okay.
To do other business. And he had a tragic end to his life. He was riding a buckboard with his shotgun on the back and hit a bump, and it had a real easy hammer.
Yeah.
And it went off and shot him in the back. And he died of lead poisoning a few months later. That's not a way I'd...
No, I don't think that's the way I want to go either.
But that's... and then his sister stayed in Edmore with her husband, and her husband took over. Don't ask me; I don't remember his name, but he took over the business interest for Edwin.
Okay.
There's a little story about that, like a mini soap opera. His wife, Edwin's sister, started having an affair with the somebody that worked at the depot.
Oh.
The husband found out, came home when he was there, and there was a murder-suicide at the house.
Oh. You know, there's drama everywhere.
I know, and it's just, it's not, you'd never think of it back then. But
it's nice that, you're touching on this little bit of history.
Yeah.
Even though there's, positive things, it's kind of...
It's just neat.
It is to know, where things happen and how they happen. What is, in your opinion, Edmore known for?
Edmore used to be known for Hitachi. And Hitachi moved out about 20 years ago, and how time flies, because I was working with the Alliance when they moved out.
Yeah.
And it's hard to believe, but I got old pictures of that when they did the sign over from the Hitachi Magnetics to this village of Edmore. And then they turned that into a industrial park.
Yeah.
And Ryan's equipment is there, and so is A&O forklifts. And they make forklifts to move around honeybees.
Oh, okay. So they repurposed. So what was a tragedy, I guess, in the way of economics and that type of thing for the village, they spun it into more of a positive.
Well, that too, but the you talking about adapting. 20 years ago, nobody, when I was in school, I knew people that did weed.
Mm-hmm.
And nowadays there's 2 dispensaries.
Yep.
And 1 bar.
Yeah.
And there's growing it, in greenhouses and stuff. But if my grandparents were alive today, they'd sit there like, what did you guys do?
What's going on?
Yeah.
Times have changed, and now you have the industrial park.
We have 2.
You have 2, because the one you're talking about would be on the far east side. And now you're talking about the one that's...
Hitachi stands for Sunrise, and that was known as the Sunrise Industrial Park.
Oh, okay.
And the one that's behind, it's got PCA and stuff, and Campbell's, and
Lakeland Mills.
Lakeland Mills, and stuff. That's behind Burger King. That's just a block to the south.
Okay, so you guys do have an industrial fact to your to the town there, as well as quite a few quaint stores downtown.
Yeah, we got everybody's trying to do their part. We have coffee brewing company or shop now in downtown Edmore.
Okay.
And their baked goods are excellent.
Okay.
I don't drink coffee, but I eat.
Well, at least you're a patron.
Yeah, I am. And it's not hard to find. It's painted like really bright green.
Okay.
It's the old Jan's video.
Okay.
But no, we got some businesses that are trying, trying to make it in Edmore.
Well, you mentioned a couple things. One you did before we started the recording here, but I would like to start with the history of the Montcalm Alliance, Economic Alliance, because if I understand it right, you started a couple years after Franz Magnus started it.
Right.
And I guess if somebody's going to be the keeper of the history of that, you kind of were there, and I understand, for like 17 years?
17 years.
Okay. Can take us back. That would have been what year?
That would have been in 1997.
Okay.
I started. 95 it was formed.
Okay.
And before that it was known as Montcalm Tomorrow. And Phil Lund ran it then out of the college.
Yeah. And Phil, if I understand it right, just become the mayor of his town out west.
Down in Colorado.
Yes.
Colorado.
I just saw that come through. Just a little fun fact, as we're putting names out there. But what was the main purpose at the time, going back to 95, 98, what were some of the things that you were involved in that kind of pushed the the economy of Montcalm?
We had the Renaissance zones.
Yep.
And when I came in, that's what was big, the Renaissance zones. And so my job was to go around. My first job was to get an inventory of all the jobs or all the businesses in every town.
Okay.
And even the ones that don't show up in the yellow pages. So, if somebody had a tailoring shop or somebody sewed, I had to find that and get the information and stuff like that.
Okay.
And it was where I wanted to be, but boy, that was tedious. I'm just
gathering facts, and at that time, we had the internet, but it
was just coming out.
The databases weren't as available as what they are today.
Not even close. And cell phones,
Yeah. You're right on the edge of a bag phone right there.
Yeah.
So during your 17 years, you saw the Renaissance zones come in.
Yeah.
Were you there when Electrolux and Frigidaire?
Yes. Well, what's interesting, Hitachi and Electrolux went out kind of like bang, bang. They hit at the same time.
So you've worked with Granholm and her staff, and you were at that time trying to figure out, because it was a big economic shock to the area. What was some of the things that, because a lot of people stepped up.
Right.
And, and you're trying to be the go-between all of this.
No, before that, Franz and I, the thing, it was the logo for the alliance, or the mission statement, was to be the go-between between state or businesses, state, local, and federal governments.
Okay.
We were the ones that they'd come to, and we'd get the information for them and send it back to them. We'd represent them if they needed it, as far as this and stuff like that, which was great.
The Discover Montcalm Podcast is brought to you by WGLM 106.3 FM, Business Growth Engine, West Michigan Technology and Design Solutions, and DW Video.
What were some of your, other than finding people work, do you remember what it was like to be in that time?
Well, it was hectic. I didn't leave the office for a while because I was busy taking flagging phone calls, and taking down information and doing files for Franz and stuff like that. Franz, the state of Michigan tried to make some tools available to us that would probably be used only in bigger cities.
Right.
But what I always call dummy them down.
Yeah.
So that, or shrink them a little bit.
And some MCC, the community college, was Dr. Burns there?
Dr. Burns was there. I always I loved Don Burns. He was great.
Yeah.
He MCC was a big part of Montcalm County's comeback.
Okay.
They about doubled in size.
Right, because all of a sudden now they were looking for, okay, how are we going to educate these people to get them in different jobs?
Well, the big thing too is what jobs are. You're not going to educate them in
anything.
And
right.
and so there's people that actually went out and tried to get the job because it makes a lot of money. But if you can't add, don't be an accountant. Or you're not good in math, don't be an accountant. Or if you can't stand the sight of blood, don't go into nursing. And that's what was happening. And you had a certain period of time. I think you had 2 years. You were now a full-time student. They were going to put you through in 2 years.
Okay.
Because they wanted a fast turnaround. And it just, some of them got into what they thought they were good at and just wasn't. It wasn't their.
Well, it's not like a glove that you can just put it on.
No, they were trying.
It fits for everybody.
They were trying because they had kids. They had, some of them were single families and stuff. They were trying their best to provide for their family.
And I like the word you used. It was hectic for everybody involved.
Everybody, and even the businesses that didn't get, wasn't hit by them, grocery stores and everything was like, well, we got to find different ways to sell this stuff because they don't have the money anymore.
Yeah, because you lose a customer base that comes into these communities to work, and they shop on their way home.
No, Hitachi had 300 people, and not all of them were from Edmore, and that was one thing that kind of helped Edmore out a little bit.
Okay,
because not everybody lost their job. Yeah, a lot of them did. But we still had people that worked at PCA, worked in the health businesses and stuff like that. And so we hemorrhaged, but we didn't lose as fast as if it was, they always make it on the movies, the business and everybody works at that business.
Right.
And
but
it was bad. I ain't making a light of it.
Well,
but I'm just saying we did have enough to keep the stuff afloat.
And though the economy has gone through different phases by then, the towns have kind of come back.
Right.
And it's good to see that, Edmore and Greenville and the surrounding, because it wasn't just Greenville, it was all of Montcalm County.
Right.
And it was nice to see. Now, changing the topic just a little bit, let's get into today. And some of the things that are going on in the Edmore area, I understand there's a program called Get.
Growing Edmore Together.
Okay.
And I am one of the biggest fans of that. I love community development. That was Montcalm Alliance used to be known as the Montcalm Economic and Community Development Alliance because hand in hand they have to go together.
Yes.
They do. If you do the economic part in stuff without a lot of community development, but you can't. But the community development, when it gets in there, is just like an injection of adrenaline.
Okay, so growing Edmore Together, is it all businesses that are part of that?
Well, right now I think there is 6.
Okay.
And I don't ask the flower shop's one. Sue Berger that runs the shortcuts is one, and stuff. And they're trying to grow. They went in with the DDA.
Good.
They merged with the DDA, and they're doing stuff with them. We have they've put out 3 music events a year from June, July, and August, and then they do a street show in September for the Potato Festival.
And I was going to get right to that. Talk about the festival. I mean, was it going when you were a kid, or did it start while?
Oh, the Potato Festival was going back in the 60s, but it was called something else. I think it was called the Homecoming. Okay. And then Potato Festival in the early 70s. I was on the board of that thing in 95 and 96.
Okay. And it's a typical community event that brings people in with activities.
Yes. This was one of our best potato festivals we've had in years.
Okay.
The one that we just had.
Okay.
And they are able now to close off Main Street. So everything's centrally located. And it really was great. They had kids games at one end and car and track show or tractor shows at the other.
Yep.
It was just nice. Everybody was centrally located. all I can, a person was walking down with me, and he says, this is almost like a Hallmark movie, where everything's, you're meeting your buddy, your neighbors and all this stuff right downtown, and there's people just the way they show them on those, but it was...
And Edmore's got some beautiful buildings downtown.
Yes,
I mean,
they do.
A lot of these communities do, and these buildings have been here for a while.
Well, over 100 years.
And it's nice to have that Hallmark movie type in that. So today, you've seen a lot over the 55 years. Is there anything that you kind of see that might be coming, or something that's happening right now? I mean, there is Growing Edmore Together, which is something that you're positive about. Is there anything else happening there or in the county that you're going, I like what's going on here?
Well, it's just the community development, community involvement.
Mm-hmm.
And the more you get the community involved, it does two things. It promotes your community with festivals and events, but it also, on the people side, when I was with the Potato Festival, the reason I got the job with Franz, when the selling point was I was community involved.
Right.
And the reason, and it gives you job skills. And it gives you, there's things about me I've realized that I could do that I wouldn't have done if I hadn't been with the Potato Festival.
Okay. So
it develops your skill set.
Right. And I think that there's a lot of communities, every community has people that are community focused. And every festival probably could say, we could use a few more volunteers to make this happen. Right. So anybody that's listening, support your area. Don't just show up at these things, but also go in and
ask, just,
be part of a group.
Sometimes it's just setting up barricades, or something like that, but at least they know they can count on you, and you feel better, you've participated, and and it's a resume stuffer. Yeah. You can say you were part of a community group. Yeah.
And that, now that I'm teaching at the Montcalm Area Career Center, that's some of the things that we talk about with the students is, get involved, give of your time. It's just good to help people grow and help the community grow.
Right.
We've touched on a lot of things. Is there anything about Edmore that we haven't talked about that you would like to make sure that we get out there?
Well, Edmore is right on 46. And we have 2 sit-down restaurants. We're going to have another, Taco Bell's moving in, so we're going to have 3 fast food joints.
Yeah.
We have the Depot, which is a la carte there.
Yeah, and you also have a hotel.
We have a hotel, and gas stations and stuff. And we gotta promote the tourism part, of coming through Edmore, and we got to do that. Montcalm County as a whole has the most lakes of any county in the Lower Peninsula at 447.
Okay,
and people just look at it and go, "You're kidding, right?" And I says, "Nope." So I pop it on the Department of
Why don't we start that again? Get your thought and say it, and start off with instead of.
Okay.
Do you know what it is?
It's the DNR, Department of Natural Resources.
So let's start there. So instead of jumping on the computer.
Yeah. Okay. The DNR, I told them to go down the DNR's website and check it out, and they were amazed. We also lead the state, or the Lower Peninsula, in secondary home sales.
Okay.
We just have these people that are coming in from all over, and I know people that have cottages up north, and they don't stay in one just because their cottages is, let's say, in Scottville. They don't stay in Scottville. They go to Ludington. They go to there, and there. And the same thing could happen with Montcalm County.
And you also have the Fred Meyer Heartland Trail.
That's
big.
Yes.
I mean, it connects all these communities.
It goes all the way from Elma, in Gratiot County all the way down to to Greenville.
Okay.
And then
Yeah, and I've got, the White Pine Trail right next to me here.
Right.
So, and that goes south of the ballpark all the way up to Cadillac.
yes.
And so there's things that people can go out and be adventuresome.
Yes.
So anything else that you'd like to leave us with?
Just if, every community should have some community development, get them involved. The more they feel a part of it,
Mm-hmm.
the less complaining will happen. The more involved they get, the more informed they get
Right.
about what's going on. And I think that's the big thing. Everybody's got to be appreciative of everybody else and in their skill set. And it's easy to tell communities and stuff, and it's like Edmore, it's easy to tell back when Hitachi, well, we ain't got this, and we don't have that, we don't have this, and we don't have that. What do you have?
Yeah.
You're never going to use a tool you don't have.
Yeah. Pull off your strengths and then help grow the other things, because it takes time.
Right. And investment, everybody thinks investment means money. Investment means blood, sweat, and tears sometimes.
I was going to say, roll up your sleeves.
Roll up your sleeves, because that's investment. And people and companies will take notice of somebody that's actually trying and say, okay, they're willing to work with us.
Yes. Well, Anthony, thank you for coming on the show today and talking about Edmore. I'll have an open invitation that if something is happening over there that you think we should be getting out on the podcast, give me a call. You got my number.
Yeah.
Let's follow through so that we can help promote not only Edmore, but all of Montcalm County. So I welcome you back anytime.
Thanks.
And on that note, you can follow the Discover Montcalm podcast on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube, as well as Pandora, Apple, and iHeart. You can go to discovermontcalmpodcast.com, grab the RSS feed, put it in your favorite podcast browser, like our Facebook pages, like our Instagram and our YouTube. Let's help build the county through the Discover Montcalm podcast, because there's a lot of stuff. I was on it today looking for something else, and I keep seeing our stories pop up. So if you've got a story that you think would be important for the county and the area, by all means, give me a call at 231-250-9624. And on that note, remember to buy and shop locally. Thank you.
The Discover Montcalm podcast is brought to you by WGLM 106.3 FM, Business Growth Engine, West Michigan Technology and Design Solutions, and DW Video.